We left Edinburgh around 5 p.m. on the 27th. York is about 200 miles, and it took us about 3.5 hours to drive there. However, we could not follow the GPS because the roads were flooded. Only by sheer luck we got there. We stayed at the Old Grey Mare Free House, a combination pub, Indian restaurant, and guest quarters. We dined in the restaurant, and I asked the restaurant manager, "Excuse me, do you have Wi-Fi?" And he answered to me,
"No, I am single."
No, I don't mean whether you have a wife, but whether you have wireless internet. Y para los que digan que no somos aventureros, aquí fue donde nos quedamos, en York. Es una headquarters y también es un pub. Señora aventurera.
Vámonos.
We walked downtown to the tourist office to get into the hop-on, hop-off tourist bus. York is a walled city, situated at the confluence of the rivers Ouse and Foss. It was founded by the Romans in year 71 after Christ. In York there is a law that makes it legal to shoot a Scotsman, but only with a bow and arrow, and definitely not on Sundays. We are about to cross the river Ouse. As you can see, it is flooded on both sides of the river.
On that bridge down to our right. So it's a house that looks better. Almost 18 foot. So this is the third world.
And here we're seeing some beautiful churches. Don't ask me the names, but they were built during the Middle Ages. They are all charming and quaint, and probably none of them are Catholic. And there we can see more flooding. Wherever you are in York, you turn around and you will see parts of the walls that surround the city. Guy Fawkes was born and educated in York, and as a member of the Roman Catholic Restorationists, they planned the Gunpowder Plot with the intention to displace Protestant rule by blowing up the Houses of Parliament. Here are the Shambles. It is an old street with overhanging timber-framed buildings, some dating back as far as the 14th century. The name comes from the Anglo-Saxon fleshamels, which means flesh shelves, which apply to the shelves that butchers used to display their meat. As recently as 1872, there were 25 butcher shops in the street, but now there are none. So Shambles is an obsolete term for an open-air slaughterhouse and meat market. La primera vez que vine acá fue en 1974. Esta calle me impresionó mucho. Inclusive compré una pintura acuarela en la calle y después de 40 años estoy visitándolo de nuevo. Where do you think the phrase daylight robbery comes from? Well, let's go back to the late 17th century, and like many English monarchs, William III was short of money. So he came with the bright idea of creating a new tax, the window tax. Several people opposed the tax. Imagine taxing light and air. So to avoid paying the tax, many windows were bricked up. That's why we see several boarded windows or very small windows in order to pay less taxes. In Mexico, a similar tax was passed at the end of the 19th century by Porfirio Diaz. We were in a hurry. We wanted to get to Oxford and pick up Sabrina during daylight time. So therefore, the only places that we visited on foot was the shambles. We drove about 3 hours, a distance of 300 plus kilometers before arriving to Sabrina's dorm. We picked up Sabrina and we drove to the Central Hotel in Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, where we had a late Indian dinner at the Balti House. We woke up early, had some coffee, and left to explore the Cotswolds, a range of hills in southwestern and west central England. The main Cotswold means sheep enclosure in rolling hillsides. And our first stop was the prettiest village in England, Castle Combe. Estamos yendo a Castle Combe en este momento. Es una de las villas más bonitas de Inglaterra, de acuerdo a la información turística.
Así es.
Así es. Bueno, estamos aquí en Castle Combe. Se supone que es la villa más atractiva y bonita de Inglaterra. Castle Combe has been called the prettiest village in England. It is very charming. The site of the castle is above today's village, but it's just the ruins. There's nothing left of the castle. The village houses are all of the typical Cotswold type, constructed in stone with thick walls and roofs made from split natural stone tiles. Several movies have been filmed here, such as Dr. Dolittle, Warhorse, and Stardust. Y ahí está la oficina de correos. Muy bonita en realidad. Con todo, inclusive con su río. Y un cisne gigante. No sé qué son estas piedras, estamos aquí en Avebury, pero es un lugar bastante interesante, seguramente debe ser contemporáneo de Stonehenge. Como se pueden dar cuenta, son bastantes monolitos, no solamente de este lado de la carretera, sino también de aquel lado, donde están esos bellísimos borregos. Esos bellos borregos. Avebury is a Neolithic henge monument, containing 3 stone circles around the village of Avebury in Wiltshire in southwest England. They were constructed 2,600 years before Christ during the Neolithic or New Stone Age. The site comprises a large henge that is a bank and a ditch. Inside the henge is a large outer stone circle with 2 separate smaller stone circles. Nobody knows the original purpose, but they believe that the site was used for some form of ritual or ceremony. This is part of a wider prehistoric landscape of Wiltshire, which includes Stonehenge and other sites.
Increíble ahora. En 1972, cuando estuvimos acá, podías caminar alrededor de las piedras.
Como pueden ver en esta foto que sacamos en 1972.
Y ahora, pues desgraciadamente todo está acordonado y evitan la entrada para proteger el monumento. Ahí me pueden ver en contra de Stonehenge.
After Stonehenge, we went to the Hotel de Bear in the town Devizes, which is a market town in Wiltshire. It's about 20 miles from Bath, our next destination. Since the restaurant was closed at the hotel, we went to the free house to have pizza and beer. After walking around the town, we went to the hotel for a well-deserved rest.
Llegamos a Bath y ahora estamos a punto de tomar el autobús turístico Hop On, Hop Off. Aquí tenemos a la primera candidata, Marilú, Poucel de Gutierrez, y aquí tenemos a la segunda candidata, Alejandra Sabrina Poucel.
Built in the city for the treatment of poor people. Prior to the Georgian period, hospitals as we know them today just simply didn't exist. The city elders were poor. St. Michael's without what? Well, it's because it was outside the city walls. I can't stress what a small walled city Bath was right up to the Georgian period. This is Broad Street. It's not a joke on its width. The Saracen's Head pub on the right is the oldest pub in Bath. Charles Dickens stayed at the Saracen's Head pub long before he became a famous novelist. When he was still just a jobbing journalist, he stayed at the Saracen's Head. I did mention at the beginning of the tour that Bath was quite literally the fashionable capital of England. So you might wonder why we went into decline. This happened between
Estamos en el pueblo de Whitcomb, que es uno de los suburbios de Bath.
that we call Palladianism. And I'll point out the elements that make up that style of architecture as we go round. So if you look up at the facade of the north face of the square here, we call it John Wood's Palace. And you will notice the elements that make up this style of architecture. So you've got the triangular pediment on the top of the building, alternating pediments along the
Esto se construyó en 1754.
You can see the influence of the Palladian style in the beautiful columns we have here. We've got Doric columns on the bottom, we've got Ionic columns on the first floor, and it's all crowned off by beautiful Corinthian columns. Even though it's this stunning piece of architecture, it was still built as individual townhouses. So there are 30 individual houses in the circus. Even in the Georgian period though, it was still a prestigious address. So if you rented one of these houses for